Cyan was asking me about the light button on the Mudman GW9500, specifically compared to the Rangeman GW9400, asking me if I thought the button was too low. And it's funny that he asked me that because I was planning on making like a rant video just about the light button on this new Mudman GW9500. It's kind of annoying to press. I can't always press it, just easily. Let's just say it takes a little bit of intention to press it. And let me explain. These buttons are mud resist buttons. That's why this watch is officially mud resist. When you press these buttons, you're pushing you're not directly pushing the button in the module. This button, what you're pressing, goes through some gaskets. There's like a pin or a piston, whatever you want to call it, that actually pushes the button. So it adds another layer between the watch module and external filth. All the mud and the dirt won't get into the module, okay? So the right side buttons also have this metal cylinder that shrouds the buttons. And these buttons, some of them have this almost like a radioactive symbol look to them. And this barometer button right here is just a basic bullseye pattern. And so over here, same thing, kind of a concentric circle bullseye patterns, but these buttons on the left side are metal in a plastic shroud. So the right side buttons have a little more protection, which makes sense because if you're wearing this on your left wrist, it's a lot more likely that the part sticking out of your sleeve is going to be, or it's going to need more protection because it encounters more dirt and mud. All right. Now the light button's a little bit different. It has this metal shroud, the cylinder that shrouds the shaft for the light button to move up and down, but it's a little bit difficult for me to just press easily because it's low. Like Siam says, it's low in its shaft. So this protective shroud, this metal cylinder, actually sticks out further than the button itself. Okay? So either if you're using a naked thumb, you'd have to like get your flesh inside of that shroud, or you'd have to use your thumbnail to catch this little slit, which prevents this button from turning. So all these buttons have some play. They have movement. Okay, so you can see that I can move these buttons, and again they're just moving inside the gasket. There's a pin behind there, and it's allowed to have this much play. That's part of the design. Okay, this one is prevented from moving by these notches resting in these slits, so it can move back and forth for illumination, and is prevented from turning. Okay, so if you put your thumbnail on those notches, you can illuminate the light. All right, and if you get the flesh of your thumb in there, you can illuminate the light. But if you have a big honking thumb, it may just hit the sides and not press the light button. And I've not had a real problem with this, that this is a gripe. It's just I think it's more of the feeling, the sensation of pressing the button but not having a satisfying press of the button is annoying. Okay, so that's the gist of this whole video. And other watches are not like that. The previous GW9400, the Rangeman, the buttons are a little bit easier to press. They have kind of a waffle pattern on them, like on this Pro Trek. And I believe that the buttons are metal. And this Pro Trek, the light button, is in the same spot, since this module is essentially the same as the one on the Mudman. So it has a light button in front. But this really has no protection from the buttons, and that's why the Mudman costs more. It's way more durable. There's a lot of design elements that lend to extreme durability for this watch, and that's why I like it. The more I wear it, the more I like it, because it's just so dadgum tough. It can stand up to anything. And so I did test this watch with gloves, and I was able to press all the buttons in the glove test. It was just a YouTube short, and you can watch that. And so it's like the leather of the glove got in there and moved the button. Okay, but the way that I would put it is that if you play bass guitar, you might have problem, hitting that button, because you have big fingers. You play bass, right? If you play one of those frilly little electric guitars, like, you probably won't have a big problem, because you probably have pointy thumbs, right? Pointy fingers, and you can press the button no problem. Okay. Overall, I think the experience of pressing this button is not satisfying. It works. Like I said, I really haven't a problem where I've been sitting here trying to press it and it's not illuminating and the button isn't moving. It's just that, say if you hit the top corner and you press it, well, you're pressing the shroud and not the button. See how it's not lighting up? Like I'm purposefully exaggerating here a little bit. You have to be conscious of the fact that you have to get the soft flesh of your thumb in there or your fingernail. Now, why is this the case? I heard somewhere that for military standards, that representatives from the military were asking Casio to make the light button harder to press compared to the Rangeman. And I cannot remember where I heard that. It may have been another watch review video, or I may have read it on a blog. And before I started this video, I was searching through where I might have heard that. If I find again the source of that information, I'll put it in the comments. But yeah, it's purposely made that you don't incidentally press the button and illuminate the watch. That, in a tactical situation, you don't want your watch to light up. Now, I have the watch on the auto illuminate, meaning that I flip up the watch when it's dark, and it will turn on automatically. Like that turned on. I don't think I pressed it. So you just flip the watch up, and the way that you turn that on is to hold down the light button until you see that right there. Let me point at it with my metal Readiness pen. Now, this pen has a tip that could smash a window. I just thought that maybe it would smash this window. I don't want to try. But anyways, LT. It illuminates. So obviously that's not a good option to have on in a tactical situation. You'll give away your position while moving, this watch illuminates. And I think that's why they made it more difficult to press. So I would say that it's kind of annoying, but since it has a purpose, I'm fine with that. I live with that. That an operator or an infantryman, someone hiding, doesn't want to accidentally press the light button on his watch. And so the experience of pressing the light button is a little bit annoying. And these buttons too, they barely stick out of their shroud. And G-Shock buttons are meant to be like they design them that they don't incidentally get pressed. Okay, so if you look at this watch, this is just a regular Casio watch, and you see that right now the stopwatch is running. Okay, I just got all these watches out of my G-Shock bag, which I did not order, but I did not intend to order. It ended up on my order anyways. This stopwatch is rolling because while this watch was in my G-Shock bag with all my watches, it got accidentally pressed. Because of the way these buttons are, it's really easy to accidentally activate a button just with an incidental press. And if you're wearing this watch, if you have it on your wrist, let's say, you're articulating your arm, it is possible with these El Cheapo Casio watches to accidentally press a button. And some people may be like, oh, what's the big deal? Who cares? Well, if you accidentally press the button and you go to a different time, like a different time zone, your secondary time, and you're not looking closely, you might be reading the wrong time. And it's possible. You know, the stopwatch could be running. It could just happen to be, you know, the stopwatch saying, you know, that it's like 12 minutes and 48 seconds. Well, that's a bad example because this watch right now is set for that time. Well, anyways, yeah, but you get the idea. That's why the incidental button presses are annoying. Okay, now the G-Shock watches, they're designed that these buttons are purposefully difficult to accidentally press. So there's barely a little bit of a button sticking up above this cylinder that shrouds the button, and you can press it, but the sensation of pressing just isn't as satisfying as on the Rangeman. Okay, and these buttons are great. This is more of a fitness watch. This is the GBDH 2000. So these have like an organic texture. It's not very grippy at all. It's kind of slippery. And this organic texture is made to match the organic pattern on the back of the band, which allows sweat to run off. Okay, but the button's really big, and the button is really easy to press, which I think is more important on a fitness watch. Okay, but on a watch that could be used tactically or professionally, you want rugged buttons, and you want buttons that you won't accidentally press. And I know that people are not buying my reason for why you don't want a easily pressable button. You're saying, what's the big deal? It is a big deal. Like, it's so annoying that, you know, all right, this is set for the main time. Say if you were to accidentally have the time, like, accidentally press this is world time, this is a totally different time zone, and you didn't notice, then you'd be reading the wrong time, okay? If you looked at your watch quickly. And that happened to me a lot with Timex watches, because Timex watches had time zone 1, like your main time zone, and time zone 2. And for a while I had them set to different times, but then I had to set them to the same time because you'd accidentally, you know, press the mode button and you would be looking at the wrong time, okay? And those of you who've had that happen know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't want to explain it again because some people are purposefully not wanting to understand just so they can be incredulous and leave comments. This is a downside too to the AE 1500. Very few downsides to this watch. $22. It's amazing. AE 1500. But see how proud these buttons stand out. These are easy to press too. The shape of the watch does allow some protection from accidental pressing, but they just stick out so far, which makes them really easy to press. You know, if you have you know, a condition that prevents you from, you know, pressing these tiny little buttons on a Casio watch. These buttons are notoriously difficult to press. This is the DWH 5600. They barely stick out from the cover of the watch. This bezel. You know, I'll take it off. Show you that there's a lot of meat to the actual button, but this bezel shroud, whatever they call it, is just so thick that you know, what's left of the button to press is difficult. And that was one of Denise's first impressions of this watch, that the buttons are difficult to press. Which, in some cases, is good, some cases it's bad. On a fitness watch, I'd like easy to press buttons, and the GBDH 2000 is that way. On a work watch, tactical watch, I want to make sure that the buttons are protected and that they won't accidentally be pressed. And by the way, the Mad Watch Collector recently dropped a review of this watch, and he called all of these bumps, he called them futuristic barnacles. Every single one of these bumps has a design purpose. Okay? This isn't style. And that's what I like about the Mudman. Okay? These bumps, I call them crenellations because they remind me of like the turrets on a castle, right? So the crenellations, the up parts, protect the watch from protect the screen from when the watch falls. Okay, so it's like a bumper, but then the lower portion is flat with the screen, right? This allows runoff of water and mud. It can run off the screen. When you look at watches that, like the King is notorious for this. Where is it? This builds up filth. There's nowhere to run it off for it to run off, right? But this bezel does protect the screen really well. There's scratches on the screen because Donald Tuff tested this watch by bashing it with rocks in the Brazos River. How many of you guys remember that video? Anyways, this watch has a lot of scratches. It's a mineral glass. And, you know, if you want the sapphire glass that's supposedly scratch-proof, you'd have to pay up. You'd have to buy the Mudmaster. And this is just the Mudman. So, you guys notice this date, by the way? January 18. A really important day is coming up tomorrow. It is January 19th. The release date of the brand new Rangeman GPR H1000. And I know a lot of you in the comments are saying it's not a real Rangeman. Okay, we covered that. But I'm still excited for it. I want to see if it solves the problems that I had with the GBD H2000, because it's like pretty much the same module. But my main problem with the GBD H2000 is, you know, that it's just not. It's a fitness watch. It's still rugged. It's still a G-Shock, but I'm afraid of stuff getting behind the buttons and stuff getting on the optical sensor for the heart rate monitor. So that watch is dropping tomorrow. I got the economy shipping, so sometime next week, Lord willing, it will arrive and we'll have the unboxing and the first look and a little bit of a review. Now I've discovered a problem with the Leatherman Arc. I was liking this tool in terms of its flip open ability and its changeable bits. But from using it, I discovered a problem that it bends a lot. There's a lot of flex. So, upcoming video where I'll discuss that, but this knife is a MagnaCut steel, really good at cutting. It's the best blade that I've seen on a Leatherman, and I enjoy using it. The Nebo Inspector pen finally bit the dust. I've had this for years. It's been a fiery relationship. You know, I like Nebo stuff, and I like this flashlight, but it's dead. So we got to get a replacement for this one. Right now, I'm using this G-Shock flashlight that my boys got me from Paramount Jewelers. This is like an old-fashioned Magnite. It's not even LCD. It has an incandescent bulb in there, so it's pretty cool. Reminds me of the good old days. But it needs batteries, and it runs through batteries a lot. And since I use the flashlight so much, I need a rechargeable one. So I might buy an updated Nebo. I might try a lead Lesnar, whatever they're called, the German ones, or a Coastal. We shall see. I'll keep you guys on the edge of your seat, wondering what flashlight I get. And oh yeah, there was one more thing. Trevor the Triplet is saying that he's going to try the PRW 3500 with a NATO strap. And I was actually planning on doing the same thing too, because so many commenters were saying that this is a great watch for a NATO strap. And I do have this Tridura strap. It might be too big. But this is from the Bertucci Construction King. And Steve is wearing the Bertucci Construction King, but this is an extra strap I had from that watch. This is an indestructible NATO band, a specially designed one. Like it can't break. Kind of scary, you know. It's so indestructible. I'd be scared to wear it to work. Let me get the SOG Twitch 3 It's right here in my duffel bag. But, like, I've been enjoying this knife a lot. Well, here's a Twitch 2. So we got to make a comparison between the Twitch 2 and the Twitch 3. Where is the Twitch 3? I bet it's still in my pants pocket. I better get it before it runs through the laundry. But anyways, the Twitch 3, I've been enjoying carrying it. I think that it's a good one. All right? And so stay tuned for that video. Guys, we covered so much stuff here, and really, we only set out to talk about the light button on the Mudman GW9500. Like I said, it's a little bit annoying to press, but I think it's designed to be that way. A lot of the problems with some of the problems, I'll just say, that people have with the Mudman are features. They're not flaws. The legibility is a flaw, I think. I don't think that engineers from Casio sat down and said, hey, let's get a watch that's difficult when you look at it face on, is a little bit dim, but then it gets really dark and crisp when you're a little bit off center. That's not intentional. I think it just has to do with the physics of polarized light and light refracting through all those layers of glass. And it's a shame because like I said, the more I wear the Mudman GW9500, the more I like it. But it does have that issue with the glare, and I think that this issue is really apparent right here. I was watching Greg Anderson unbox and give a little review of the green version, the green special edition version of this GW9500. He was saying that people were complaining about the visibility at angles. Well, the angles are not extreme angles. If I was holding it like this and was complaining about the visibility, that would be an illegitimate claim. The problem, and you can see right here, you look at it straight on, it's dim. You just turn it this much and it's crisp and dark. Alright? So that's pretty clear. That's a little bit dim. It's dim. And you kind of lose it. And at night, when you press the illumination button, sometimes it's like totally gone. It's like absolutely blank, and it's not at extreme angles. So that's a flaw. But the light button being difficult to press is not a flaw. I believe it's meant to be that way. And guys, I wish I had the source, but I could not find it. And if any of you guys know where that source is, let me know. I want to say, was it Maverick? I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up. But I still like the Mudman, and I'm excited for the Rangeman. And stay tuned for these other videos where we'll be testing and reviewing these other items and some more comparison videos. And I'll just leave you with the same comment I did last time. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through him. I'm Jim Kinkade. Thanks for watching.